Hello again, I'm Longbox55. Again, LB to you guys on what are you working on. And we're going to do part 3 on brake line flaring. I'm going to show you how to do an ISO type flare, which this is what you'll find on your late model cars, Japanese and European cars, Chinese cars, God forbid, your Korean cars. You also do find it on a lot of late models, especially General Motors products. Why they went that way, I could not tell you, but they're passenger cars, and some of the lighter trucks, the S10s, have it. I have not got too much into the late model Chrysler, the Daimler Chrysler, so I don't know if those have it or not, but it's very possible. So let's start. I'll show you the tools again, just a quick run over the tools, and then I'll show you how to do the flaring itself and the difference between the ISO flare and your standard flare. Okay, so you've seen this tool before. This is our professional grade hydraulic flaring tool, and we'll be using these adapters down here in the corner today. As you notice, I have the name covered up. That's out of respect for Stacy's sponsor. So, got your flaring tool. Again, good cutter with a reamer and a good file. Buy American. Canadian or German would be okay too. But really, we want to support our people over here. Got to get them factories up and running again. So, I've already prepared a piece of line. You'll notice that it is pretty much just a little piece of scrap, because I'm starting to run out of leftover line to do my demonstration here. So basically the same deal as before, except that you use the different style die stock, and I'll show you real quick. And of course they are marked. So we're going to compare. This is an 8mm, this is a 5/16. Those are so close to size you can actually put a metric flare on a standard line as long as it's the same general size. So you notice that down here they're basically the same. They have the little teeth in there that grip the line. But if you look up here, you see the 45-degree bevel on this one that's absent from this one. There's just a tiny little bit of a radius in there. And that is because on a double, or on the ISO flare, and I'll show you the fittings here. Here's your standard fitting, and it has the 45-degree recess in there. The ISO flare does not have that. So now, something you'll want to watch out for is sometimes you will have a standard flare line that will have a metric hex on it, especially on your Ford and Chrysler products. ISOs will always be metric, and the threads will always be metric, so they don't interchange. I'll show you a line real quick. This is actually a line that already has a bubble flare on it, and you can see how it's flat here, and then it's got like a dome shape to it. Like I said, they do not interchange. Some guys will force it and make it work, but you end up with a fitting that will either bung up your threads or it'll leak. And, well, leaking is very bad in a brake system. So, now something I will let you guys in on a tip. If you're replacing a section of brake line in a car that has a ISO type flare, and let's just say you're not replacing the line from start to finish, or you're having to splice, you can put a standard flare on a metric line and then utilize a standard double flare to splice them together, because they do not make an ISO union coupler. So we got our adapter piece in there. You notice how this is made different. It's rounded instead of a true double or 45-degree flare. Alright, so we thread it in, close the valve, make sure that you are straight, because, well, you could end up crooked, and crooked flares they're like crooked politicians. Nobody likes crooked flares. So then you just pump it in until it stops, release it. It's a little sticky there. All right. And the nice thing about you doing an ISO flare is the ISO flare you'll do in one simple step. Now I know what you guys might be thinking is, well, that looks just like the half-formed inverted flare that you showed us last time. Well, it isn't, because if you look, you can see where it's actually flat on the bottom, and again, it's domed on top. I do know guys that will try to do that. They'll try to get away with using a half-formed double flare. And sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Personal opinion on that, it's not worth the risk, because the tools are available to do it right. So now, you don't have to go and buy this kit to do these. They do make a ISO type kit in the other $20 KD brand kit. You'll find it in the blue box, and it's basically the same. You got a die stock, you have the adapters, and you have the forcing screw, but everything is done in one operation, just like this. So the operation is the same, it's just a different tool. And you know, you want to make sure you do it right. Like I said though, it is kind of handy, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of mechanical work, to have both available to you, because when you're dealing with stuff where you have to work with two different flares, especially, like I said, you guys are working on the late model cars and you have to splice lines, or if you're working on a hot rod and you're using late model parts in it, you got to rear out of something metric, and the rest of your car standard 45 degree. You want to be able to make one flare or the other and be able to splice your lines that way, because they don't interchange. So that's about all I have on this. The next video I'll probably run through doing the push connect and GM fuel line flares. So again, I'm LB, and I hope you guys learned something about this stuff today.